Welcome back to the channel and to another WNBA video. We got a 5-game slate to dive into for Wednesday, August 28th. So we're going to break down and analyze each of those games. We'll talk about which way that I'm leaning as far as the points and the spread. We're also going to talk about any player props that I found for those games that I like. And then any picks that I put in officially myself, I will throw down below in that pinned comment. So make sure you check back in. That way you can see if you'd like to ride along with me. And before we dive into these games, let's recap what we took yesterday and how that ended up going down. Did not go down quite the way that we would have liked, man. And I said it in the video yesterday, man. I was giving the Aces one last shot. I had the Aces laying 8.5, put a half unit on it, and we do not cash, man, because they lose to the worst team in the W, the Dallas Wings, by 3. Come on, man. What are we doing, Las Vegas? Look, they had a double-digit lead in the first quarter, too, right? And, like, man, what, did they just think the game was over at that point? I don't get it, man. I do not get this Las Vegas team at all. We also took a same-game parlay. The Aces team total over 87.5. This hits. We combine that with Natasha Howard over 6.5 rebounds. She lands at 6. So we lose this one, put a half unit on it. We lose this one on the hook, man. So 0-2 on the night. Sucks, man. But, you know, like I said, we did just put half units on those. So fortunately, we do just lose one full unit on the night. We'll bounce back tonight, man. That's what we do, right? With the sports betting thing. It's going to be up and down at times. And the WNBA has been a little wicked here, man, since the return from this Olympic break. But hey, we're going to dive right back into it. Like I said, we got 5 games to go over for today. So let's not waste any time, man. But before we do, hit that like button down there for me. Hit subscribe. Now let's get into it. We got the Connecticut Sun taking on the Indiana Fever. The Sun are laying 3.5 with the over-under sitting at 165. Now, Sun, they're going to be on the road here for the second game of a 3-game homestand. They'll come in with a 2-day rest advantage. They've won 3 straight now and 4 of 5 coming out of that Olympic break, sitting at 22-7 overall. That is second in the W. The Fever, they're back home here after a short 2-game road trip. They'll be back on the road for 2 more right after this. Indiana has won 3 of 4 since the break. They're sitting at 14-16. That is 7th overall, right in playoff contention. We got Tiffany Mitchell of Connecticut and Katie Lou Samuelson of Indiana, both listed as game time decisions for this one. And I feel like we see this a lot in the W, man. It's another game of strength versus strength. Indiana's potent offense and Connecticut's suffocating defense. The Fever in their last 5 are putting up the 3rd most points per game, averaging 89 per, shooting 45% from the field. 3rd overall, and then 35% from deep, 4th overall. They're hitting the most shots from the restricted area, but it has to be noted that they are doing so at the 4th lowest shooting percentage. And just watch a Fever game, man, and you'll see why. For as great as this offense has been as the season's gone on, you're going to see multiple times a game watching Indiana where Clark delivers an exceptional pass to a teammate who's like right there by the rim, and in turn they blow a layup. Happens multiple times a game, man. They get a ton of looks around the rim, contributing to those most makes, but they miss a lot of bunnies, man, contributing to that lower shooting percentage. The Sun in their last 5 have given up only 75 points per game. That's 2nd lowest in the W. Teams are shooting at the 2nd lowest percentage from the field versus the Sun in this time, and the lowest from 3. They're also leading the league in points scored off of turnovers and fast break points. The Fever ranked just 8th defending both of those categories. Then the Sun are hitting the 2nd most shots from the restricted area in their last 5 and are 4th in points per game over their last 5. Sun have seen some improvements on the offensive end as well since the trade for Marina Mabrey. And man, I anticipated this much. I really did. We talked about this after that trade when we came back into WNBA action after that break. Man, I really felt like she was that added piece to this offense that was missing. And more importantly, she would be in a much better position herself and in a role to succeed here. Much more than she was in her time in Chicago. She was forced to play facilitator there a lot, run the point too often. She's a scorer, man. It's what she does. She's one of those streaky shooters, man. When she's hot from deep, she's hot, right? So what's most interesting in this one to me is the complete dominance the Sun have displayed over the Fever. Dating back to 2021, the Sun have now won 11 in a row. Coach Sides of the Fever herself is just 0-7 all time versus the Sun in regular season play. So I'm going to lean Connecticut here. They've won each of the 3 matchups played on the year between these two, winning the last one by 17 back in early June. They held the Fever to just 9 of 24 from deep and out-rebounding them 41-26 in that one. So Yeah, fading Clark is scary, man. I just did it, and it bit me. This Fever team they've really come in stride, but this Connecticut team, they ain't no joke either. So I'm definitely going to lean Connecticut here. And then for the total, I got to look under, man. The Fever are deadly on that offensive end for sure. But against the Sun, they have definitely had their troubles. Connecticut is holding them to just 76 points per game in those three matchups so far on the year, well below the Fever's average. And then the last 7 games between these two has seen the under hit 6 times at an 86% rate. And a player prop I like for this one is going to be Marina Mabrey. Her points and assists over 17.5. In her last 10, she's hit this at a 70% hit rate. And then we can see here, man, Outlier, man, they got these great insights. And if you're not familiar with Outlier, make sure you get down into that description. We're going to have a link that you can click, man. It's going to give you a free 7-day trial to sign up for Outlier and see what you think about it for yourself, man. I bet you by the end of that 7-day trial, you're going to fall in love because there's so many great tools and so many different ways that you can filter this thing down to your liking. It's going to pop up a whole bunch of insights for each game, man, where you can break it down by the player, see all their different props and their hit rate. And, just like I said, you can filter it down a lot of different ways. You can click in here, hey, I only want to see their away games, or I want to see them with a certain player or without a certain player, when somebody's out and their role increases. So we can look into all those awesome different things here on Outlier. But here for Marina Mabrey, we got this nice little insight that says, she has exceeded the 17.5 points and assist mark in 12 of her last 15 games when facing these bottom 5 defenses. For assists allowed, she's actually averaging 21.7 points and assists in those games and hitting at an 80% rate. That's over her last 15 games. Like I said, versus teams, bottom 5 defenses for assists allowed. And then if we look at Indiana, let me scroll back up here. Let's scroll back over to the matchup. If we look at Indiana specifically against guards, they are giving up, they are 5th in assists allowed. Not too shabby here, but they are giving up the most points to guards. And what did we just say, man? Marina Mabrey, she's a scorer. She's going to shoot. So I like her getting the 17.5 points plus assists. I like her getting close to that 17.5 just with the points. The next game that we're looking at is going to be the Washington Mystics taking on the Chicago Sky. The Mystics are laying 1 point here with an over-under sitting at 158.5. The Mystics are on the road for the second straight game, and they're in a stretch that sees them away from home for 4 of 5. They've won 2 in a row, just recently beating the Storm by 2 in Seattle. The Sky have a 1-day rest advantage here, but come in on a 3-game losing streak, and losers of 4 of 5 since returning from the break. Much like I said earlier, I thought the Mabrey trade really helped Connecticut. I definitely thought it hurt Chicago, at least here in the short term. They were limited on perimeter shooting to begin with, and then Mabrey was their second leading scorer. There's been a void since she's left. With that said, though, Lindsey Allen has been playing lights out, man. You got to give it to her. Camila Cardoso is beginning to get more comfy, it appears, as the season goes on. We just saw firsthand how much of a force Kennedy Carter can be, right? You guys saw that game against Vegas last Sunday. Man, that thing was wrapped up, right? Aces up by 6 with under a minute to play. And then Kennedy Carter hits back-to-back clutch threes. The second one, she just crossed Jackie Young up and smacked that thing right in her face, right? Kind of a pause. We do have some injuries to go over for this one, though, because speaking of Carter, she's out with COVID. Carly Samuelson is a game-time decision for for Washington, excuse me, but is expected to play after missing the previous 3. The Mystics' Shakira Austin is listed out as well. She suffered an ankle injury against Seattle. Even without Carter, though, I like Chicago at home here. Their bread and butter all year, it's been the glass, right? They lead the league in total rebounds per game and offensive rebounds. They're hitting the 4th most second chance points and scoring the most points in the paint. Washington they're on the opposite end here, man. They're dead last in rebounds, only 10th for defensive rebounds, so the opportunities are going to be there for Cardoso and Reese to eat. Probably all game, man, especially without Austin down low for the Mystics as well. So I'm going to lean Chicago on this one. And then for the total, I'm going to look under here. Both teams in their last 10 have cashed the under at a 60% rate. Against this number, specifically, the Mystics are hitting under at a 60% rate as well in their last 5 on the road, while the Sky have landed under this number 5 of their last 5 for a 100% hit rate. The next game we're looking at is going to be the Atlanta Dream taking on the Seattle Storm. Storm are laying 7.5. We have an over-under sitting at 157.5. This is the first of a 4-game road trip for the Dream. They came out of the break hot, man, winners of 3 straight, but they've since lost back-to-back to the Fever and the Dream. The Storm are home for the second game of a 3-game homestand, and man, they've struggled out of the break. They're just 1-3, coming off of a 2-point loss to the Mystics. Both teams are on a back-to-back here, but obviously a tougher spot for Atlanta here with the travel involved. This is the third matchup between these two as well, and the home team has won each match so far. The Dream have been one of the better teams in the W over their last 5. Diving into the data, man, they are 4th in offensive rating, 3rd defensively in their last 5 games. The Storm in that time, they've dropped to 10th offensively and 6th defensively. Looking at the Storm in their last 5, they haven't covered this 7.5-point line once, while the Dream are covering this number at a 100% hit rate over their last 5 games. So I'm going to lean Atlanta with the points in this one. And then for the total, I'll slightly lean over. Atlanta is hitting over this number at a 60% rate in their last 5, while the Storm have hit over at a 80% rate in the same time frame. With both teams on a back-to-back, I could see some sloppy play for sure, but I could also see some mental lapse on the defensive end. And then both teams wearing down as the game goes on, leading to less D. And then at this number, we don't even need both teams to hit 80. You know what I mean? We can creep up over this number in the high 70s. One team maybe in the low 80s, So I like our chances here for an over. Then the next game I'm looking at is going to be the Minnesota Lynx taking on the Phoenix Mercury. We got the Lynx laying 3.5 for this one with the over-under sitting at 163.5. Minnesota, they're going to have a 2-day rest advantage in this one. They'll be on the road for 5 of the next 6 starting here. They've been hot, man. Winners of 6 straight. No losses since returning from the break. They've beat the Aces twice in that span, which at this point, I'm not really sure what that amounts to. The Wings beat the Aces. All right, we don't got to talk about that again, though. And also the Fever, they beat the Fever also while on a back-to-back. So impressive there for Minnesota. They've just been impressive straight up since the break, like I said. Nafisha Collier is just balling out of her mind, man. There's times where she's just really carrying that squad and doing so to perfection. Obviously, they have not lost a game since the break. This is the second game of a 5-game homestand for Phoenix. They lost to New York in their last outing by 14 and have alternated wins with losses in their 6 games since coming back from that break. Mercury have been a better team at home than on the road for the year. They've gone 9-5 both straight up and to the number at home. Minnesota, though, on the road, 8-5 straight up, 9-4 against the spread. The Lynx have looked like the team that we saw win that Commissioner's Cup, towards the beginning of the year, since these 5 games coming back from the Olympic break. They are balling, man. They are first in points per game, field goal percentage, 3-point field goal percentage, offensive and net rating. And the Mercury have kind of disappeared offensively. And with the star-studded unit they have, it's surprising, man. Only 78 points per game on average over their last 5. Second to last in field goals made. And just 6th in three-pointers made and 3-point shooting percentage. Not good news when we're facing this Minnesota team who also has that rest advantage that we talked about, right? Lynx are giving up just 41% shooting on the year, only 29% from deep. Both of those are the lowest in the W. And the Mercury are middle of the pack as far as turnovers, and the Lynx on the year are second in points scored off of turnovers and third in fast break points. So, all things considered, man, I'm going to lean Minnesota in this one. And then for the total, I'll look to the under. Phoenix is smacking under this line at an 80% hit rate in their last 5, and are we going to trust them to bounce back against this Minnesota defense? I'm not personally, so we've hit under this line in the last 2 meetings between these two. Well under in late June. The last time they played, we landed at just 133. So I will look to the under for this game here. And then our last game on the night, it's going to be the New York Liberty taking on the Los Angeles Sparks. And the Liberty are laying 12.5. We have an over-under sitting at 163.5. The Sparks are home with the rest advantage, but they come in riding a 7-game losing streak that dates back before the break. New York is 5-1 since the break. This one feels pretty easy, man. But makes me feel a little leery too, not gonna lie. New York has crushed LA in each meeting so far this year, winning by double digits in each of those 3 matchups, and then just completely dismantling the Sparks in the last one. What was that? Just a couple weeks ago on the 15th, I believe, 103-68. The Sparks will be without Ari McDonald and Laisha Clarington as well. So, look, I don't want to overthink this like I did that last time. Like I said, they played it like 2 weeks ago. I overthought the hell out of that game, man. I thought the Sparks were going to cover. The Liberty just haven't, they haven't hit a lot. They haven't covered a lot of double-digit wins. Blah 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 blah. Went on and on about it. I think I was off on the total as well. Just completely overthought this game. I'm not doing that this time, man. The Liberty are far and away the superior team here. Second in points per game on the year, fourth overall field goal and 3-point shooting percentage, first overall three-pointers made, first for assist to turnover ratio, second in rebounds, fourth in steals. Now, this is a good team. The Sparks are not. They're third to last in points per game, second to last in field goals made, third to last in overall shooting percentage. They're just eighth in three-point shooting percentage. So I'm keeping this one short and sweet, man. Like I said, I'm not overthinking it. Give me New York laying the 12.5 points. And then for the total, I'll look under. If New York is going to control and dictate this game like I think, then you got to take note of the fact that they have cashed 5 unders in a row, 7 of the last 10 with this number in mind specifically. They're hitting at an 80% rate in their last 5 overall and last 5 on the road. The one over on the road, the one time that we didn't hit under this number, it was against the Sparks, right? But not for anything that the Sparks did. Now, they only put up 68 points in that one. It was more what they didn't do, which is play any kind of defense, right? Leading to 103 points from the Liberty. But New York has been towards the top of the league for points scored over the course of the season, ranking second overall. But in the last 5, they are averaging just 80 points per game, good for just 7th in the W. So I'll take my chances on an under with this one. The player prop I'm looking at in this one is going to be Benaje Laney Hamilton. Her assist over 3.5. We can catch this at plus money right now. And if we look down here, man, she has exceeded this number in 4 of her last 5 against bottom 5 defenses. 4 assists allowed. She's actually averaging about 4.5 assists per game, hitting at a 80% hit rate. And then, looking at her head-to-head against these Sparks, man, she's hit at a 100% hit rate. And the Sparks are allowing the second most assists per game. If we look at them strictly against guards, it's not like it jumps up that much, man. They're hitting at a, the 4th highest rate. So, guys, that is going to do it here for another episode. I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you found it helpful or useful in any kind of way, please don't forget to smash that like button down below and hit subscribe if you have not already. That way you don't miss out on any of the content that we are dropping here on a daily. Hope we have a great day today, guys. Let's bounce back and let's cash. I will see you guys tomorrow on the next video.